In this video, we're going to talk about some potential good news for Halo Infinite. And the potential good news is that there might be up to 20 maps in development. But we have to dig a little bit deeper, make sure that we temper the expectations, but at the same time, talk about what could be coming before you know it. But the GameLeap website is the best place to hone your skills and quickly climb. We have VOD reviews teaching you position making, in-depth tips and tricks, and so much more. So do yourself a favor and use code GETGOOD for our special 50% off discount right now down below. So basically, there was some data mined information about Halo Infinite, and we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna make sure to temper the appropriate expectations. We don't want to rise expectations too hard so everyone's disappointed when they don't come true. And then we're gonna talk about the reality of the situation. So this was the leak that came out a while back before the launch of the beta. Data miners found a list of 20 plus maps for Halo. We can confirm that we know of at least another 10 maps in the pipeline for the game in various stages of development, and they're gonna share more info about that soon. Now, well, that seems incredibly exciting because I was expecting like maybe 2 maps in development. I mean, we haven't seen anything, so I was really not expecting a lot. But if there is up to 20 maps or even 10 being actively worked on for the game, that would be freaking crazy. I mean, imagine if somewhere down the line they just drop like, 4 maps. That would just be such a huge boon to the game. And I really do think that maps need to be added, especially in ranked mode when there's just so little, especially after Behemoth got removed. Now, before you get your hopes too up, I want to kind of ground you back to reality. Here's a comment that said, quote, "I'm skeptical. I take this as 20 maps that were toyed with at some point, not necessarily 20 that we'll see. I bet there are a dozen that never make it past the initial testing phase." And then someone else responded saying, "Yeah, people need to learn what data mining info means. Doesn't mean it will happen, but just the code for some of these maps were created and toyed with at some point." And that is probably true. All of these maps that were being tinkered with or potentially in the running to be put in the game, most of them are not going to get put into the game, at least as far as we know. We can't assume that just because something was data mined that it's going to get put in the full game. It does mean at the very least that they are working on something, right? It means that they are working on some maps, but it doesn't tell us the actual number, and I'm really thinking that the number is probably a lot closer to 4 or 5 rather than 10 or 20. Now, that being said, if you saw my video on the free fall of Halo Infinite's popularity, I think that we don't need perfectly tuned shit. We don't need perfectly tuned maps. Hell, I'll take literally 1-to-1 copies of past Halo maps. Just put some fucking stuff in the game. I don't care. It doesn't have to be perfect. If down the line a map needs to get pulled again, just like Behemoth, that's perfectly fine. But for now, just err on the side of adding more stuff and not, trying to sandbag anything at all. At this point, don't sandbag anything. Now, another comment said this: "I really wish this hasn't made its way out. True or not, people have a tendency to take leaks as gospel and set it as a precedent no one wants. We only have 16 new maps, and we were promised 20. And yeah, that's kind of the fear here, right? That people will take this in and say, oh, okay, we have 20 new maps coming just around the corner, which is probably not the case. It does mean that there are maps being worked on, which we already knew, and I am happy that at the very least, they are starting for a larger number. Like if they data mined and they only saw like 5 maps, and I would have to think, oh shit, we're gonna get 1 goddamn map. But I really do think that we're gonna get more than 1. I actually think we're gonna probably get, something like 4 or 5. Realistically, I think that's a realistic expectation. But as far as when, probably not till Co-op and Forge drop. It's probably gonna be with that, which is gonna happen in Season 2, which is still, at the very least, a couple weeks away. Now, in my personal opinion, if you released Forge and then you had some sort of voting system and then you put a community queue where certain community voted maps got thrown into the casual modes of Halo Infinite, that could just be endless maps. For the casual gamer, that would be just so damn fun, and I don't see a reason not to do something like this. And personally, as far as ranked is concerned, I think that ranked needs a lot of maps. I would love a new ranked mode as well, but ranked has a number of different issues that we're not going to get into here. And maps would be great, but it's kind of just icing on the cake as far as what ranked needs. But I really hope that 343 isn't sandbagging a lot of these maps because they don't fit into the esports cycle or program that they have set forth. I don't think that shit matters at all. Go back to the drawing board. I understand that you really want to promote your, tier 2, tier 3 esports scene, and I am all for that, but the game has a lot bigger problems right now. Content's one of the biggest ones, and if you can't just add more content to the game and keep the casual fan base there, then there's gonna be no tier 3 or tier 2 esports. But anyways, let me know what you think about this news. Are you optimistic or incredibly pessimistic? I want to hear your side of the fence. And if you could drag one map from past Halos, what would be that map? I want to know your response down below. And while you're there, go to the GameLeap website for Easy Onyx with our advanced tips and tricks at a 50% off right now for our Get Good sale. Don't miss out right now down below.